Aside from the condition damage engineer and the necromancer, those two receive major updates for their condition damage build. These classes I decided to bundle them up. So for the Condi Ranger, Condi Thief, Poison Thief, should I say, Burn Elementalist and Burn Guardian, and also a little bit of a Revenant inside this video as well, even though the Revenant wasn't condition damage, but I like to bundle them up so that I don't waste your time from watching however long that is the video for a particular class. So let's just start off with the Condi Ranger, shall we? So for the Condi Ranger, there's not a whole lot that I change that have the major impacts onto the class itself. I mean, like for this particular build, Condition Ranger. So the first thing that they changed for the weapon skill is that they increased the physical damage of the skill has been increased by 33%. But we all know that the Condi Ranger relies on the condition damage, so having an extra physical damage is good, but it's not something that too big of a concern. The next one is the Muddy Torrent. Where's the Muddy Torrent? I believe that I saw this somewhere. So they have made some changes with the Rangers, but for the Condi Rangers, they have made some changes that when I look at that, it's have some impact, but it's not that major compared to what they have done for the engineer and the necromancer. So starting off with the weapon skill, throwing your torch, the physical damage of this skill has been increased by 33%. So that's not major. I consider this one to be minor, because obviously the Condi Ranger relies on your condition damage to be able to deal the damage to the target foe, and so having the physical increased by 33% is not something that big of a concern. And the other one is the sharpened edges. The critical chance has been reduced to 33% instead of the 66%. So the chance on the critical hits of your bleeding, initially it was 66%. So at 66% you have a chance on your critical hit to inflict the bleeding stat, but now it's only 33%. So that is big change. So, but again, I mean, like most of the time I'm using the trapper expertise anyway to lay the trap to my target enemies, and so having this one, to me it doesn't really affect me that much, since I rely on my traps to deal damage to the target enemies. So yeah, that's, to me, I mean, like it has some negative impact now that you only have 33% chance of critical hit, but it doesn't really affect me that much for my personal case, because I use traps more. And the next one that they made the change is let me have a look at the skill patch. They make the sharpening, well, sorry, before we go into the sharpening stone, let's talk about the Muddy Terrain. The Muddy Terrain now, immobilized duration applied by the skill has been increased from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. And if you want more CC, or if you don't want to take more major damage then from falling, then in that case take this. But again, I don't use this one. I prefer to have the expertise training, because my pets will now be able to deal more damage. So aside from that, they made the change to the sharpening stone, and the sharpening stone bleed the foes with the next few attacks. The initial stacks is it was 6, and now they increased that to 10. So ideally you will be having more stacks on the sharpening stone, and the cooldown is 30 seconds. So if you are using the short bow and you decided to bleed the foe more with your bleedings, then feel free to swap this one on. They have made the spike trap. The recharge of the skill has been reduced from 45 seconds to 30 seconds in PvP only. And knowing me, for those of you who don't watch my videos, I don't cover PvP or War v War, because that's not something that I have a lot of knowledge about. So I decided not to talk about it. So for those of you who are doing PvE, this does not affect you at all. So you can use the spike trap to inflict the 6 bleedings, or you can swap to the sharpening stone and have a 10 stacks of bleed. So it's entirely up to you, but I think that for me, I will be using the sharpening stone rather than the spike trap, purely on the fact that the spike trap, yes, it does have cripple, so situational, I will be using the cripple to do some soft CC and also to inflict the damage as well. But it has 36 seconds of cooldown, whereas the sharpening stone doesn't have it's not in comparison between the cooldown. This one is only 30 seconds instead of 36. So yeah, that a 6 second less of the cooldown is something that I prefer, so that I can pump out more. In regard to the equipment, it's exactly the same. There's nothing changed. Everything is I use full vipers for my equipment. I'm using the superior rune of the nightmare for pieces of that, and the other two I'm using the superior rune of the trapper. And for the short bow, I'm using Sigil of Earth and Sigil of Smoldering to increase my burning condition damage. And for the axe and the torch, I am using full vipers as well, except for the torch I'm using sinisters. And the Sigil of Earth, yeah, and the other one is Sigil of Smoldering. Obviously you can make your torch to be your vipers as well, but because I transmuted my collection weapon into this one, so I will change that to full vipers later on today, because I prefer vipers for my weapons rather than the sinisters, but it's entirely up to you. So in regard to the condition durations, if I use the food, I will have the maximum percentage of my burning condition duration. So yeah, at the moment 83% is good. So if I use the budget option super veggies, it will pop it up to 100%. And for my entire set, I am using full vipers, as you can see. And so if I decided to go this one with the full vipers option, that one will boost it up to 85, roughly about 85% of the burning condition durations. So if I use food, that is a 3% of overcapping of my condition durations. And so as you know, any percentage extra that you have after 100% will not be counted. So ideally you would want to replace some of your vipers to sinister to not overcapping in the case that you are using food. Now, because I don't use expensive food that often, I only use that when I do high-end content like the raid, then I will use expensive food. But otherwise, for casuals play, like if I go play meta events or anything like that, and I don't think that it would be justify for the cost of me spending all of my expensive money, or spending all of my expense for the expensive food, because I don't see any reason for me to do so when I'm doing the meta events. And so I don't use expensive food for that purpose. I only use super veggies budget option, because it provides you with 18% of your condition durations, or there's another one that is also reasonable in terms of the cost as well, will provide you with a 20% of your condition durations. So either way, I'm happy with the condition duration that I have right now, with the purpose of doing meta events for my Condi Ranger right now. But when I do the raid, I will swap all of my excessive in terms of the condition duration to the sinister, so that I can push up my my damage. So that's something for you guys to consider if you want to maximize your damage. If you are like me, if you use your Condi Ranger for general purposes like doing meta events, then I don't recommend you to go with the expensive food. So yeah, that's that. Let's move on to the other classes, shall we? Or for the budget option, just go with the rampages and the other one, which is the rapid option. So it's entirely up to you if you decided to go with any of those. And for the rune, I always recommend the superior rune of Balthazar for the burning condition damage for your rangers. And the weapons are the same, just go with Smoldering and the Earth, and the other one, which is Geomancy, you can use that one as well. Alright, so that's it for the Condi Rangers. Let's move on to the other classes. Okay, before I go, sorry, I forgot to mention about the pets. They did make some significant changes to some of the pets in regard to attack range and reducing the cooldown and for the skill, and also they're reducing the cooldown for the skill, and also increase the attack radius. Somewhere, increasing the radius attack range somewhere from between 240 to 360, somewhere between 225 to 280, and for the range of the attack, some of them they increase from 130 so to the 240. So there's a variety of lists of them on the official forum. So I highly encourage for those of you who wanted to check it out in a more detail to go on those forums. But to summarize the patch changes, they increase the attack range, reduce the amount of the skill cast, and also increase the attack radius, and also some of them they increase the attack as well, the speed and so on and so forth. And so overall it's good for us because now our pet is now stronger and be able to attack further and also deal in increasing attack speed, so subsequently that's increasing the damage, right? And so that's good. So for the Condi Ranger, I am still using, if I'm doing the meta event, I'm still using the fire weapon, and also for my links to deal the bleeding condition damage. But from time to time, I will be swapping to my Moa for extra CC because it has dice. For those of you who want me to spare it out, CC stands for crowd control. And if I need it, I will be swapping to my weapon as well because it also does have CC skill. And also for the smoke scale for extra protections, I mean the survival enhancement in the form of smoke from this one. So there's a variety of them that I still swapping on the regular basics, but most of the time if I'm doing the meta events, I will be using my fire weapon and the links. Okay, so that's it for me. That's it for me for the comments about the Condi Rangers. I'll be moving on to the other classes. Well, for the condition damage of the Guardian, or should I say the Burn Guardian, my Burn Guardian is still the same. There's nothing changed because this patch is more tailored to the Dragon Hunter specialization, so the Burn Guardian has nothing to do with it, and so I'll be skipping that. Now it would be nice for me to see some improvement for the Burn Guardian, but it's not happening in this patch, so I'll be skipping that and then moving on to the other classes. So for this patch, they have made some changes to both physical damage and also condition damage of the warrior. Now I will just be talking about the condition damage warrior because that's the scope of this video. So for the banner, they made the big improvement for this one. The increase in the number of enhancement targets from 5 to 10. So effectively, you are now able to give an increase in stats to 10 people instead of 5. So that's really good. And in the meta event, it would now require less warrior for you to give supports to the entire team. So 2 warriors you can give 20 the buff to 20 people, 3 warriors is 30 people, and so on. And so that's good. The less warrior required to give buff, so the other warrior can focus on doing something else. The other changes that they have made that I like as well is the Blood Reckoning. Now the damage to healing is increased from 10% to 20%, so the more the better, right? The more healer you have, the better. And for Great Justice, this one is another features that I like as well, is the number of stacks that you can give to your allies increase from 3 to 6 stacks, and the might is a boon that increase your power and condition damage, and they do stack intensively. And so having more might, ideally you want to have the might to stack as high as you can and to stay as long as you can, as long as possible. And so because of that, having the might, the more might that you can pump out to your allies, the better, right? So that increases the overall damage for the entire team, and so that's really good. The other changes that I have made in regard to the specialization that have impact on the warrior is the Deep Strike. The Deep Strike, this is now altered, so we now grant condition damage to the warrior whenever they have fury, and the condition damage gain has been increased from 150 to 180. So more condition damage for you, and the fury you always get it from the For Great Justice anyway. So that's the minute that you have the fury, then you have an increase in condition damage. And if you are in the party, in the team, you will be having most of the time the fury will be applied to you anyway, so don't worry about that too much. So those are the things that I see that they have major impacts on the Condi warrior, but obviously compared to the engineer and the Necromancer, the warrior does not receive, like in regard to the condition damage of the warrior, is not that that major compared to those two. So these are the things that I can see that have impact on the warrior in a positive way, of course. Alright, so in regard to the gear, well, at the moment I'm still using the full 5% for the equipment, and I'm using the superior rune of aristocracy. Sometimes people call, well, a lot of people will call this build the Condi PS, because you know, I provide might and support to my allies, so you know, that hasn't changed. And for the weapons, I'm using superior CGO of strength to, you know, 60% chance on critical. I give the might, I gain the might and then give the might to other people as well. And for the torch, I'm using the superior CGO of smoldering, so obviously I tailor myself to the burning condition damage, right? So I prefer to have the smoldering. And for the longbow, I am using vipers and superior CGO of strength and superior CGO of earth to give 60% chance of critical inflicted bleeding. And for the set, for the trinket as well, I am using full vipers. Now the rest of my trinkets, obviously I gave them to my what do you call it, Condi Elementalist. So at the moment, so I just chuck in whatever I have for my Condi PS for now, because I was doing a little bit of a test a few weeks ago for my Condi burn Elementalist, so I haven't swapped it back, but I will after this. Alright, so to sum it up, for the equipment, it hasn't changed. I still use my full 5% for the warrior, and for the accessory as well, I'm still using my vipers. Alright, so for the purchase options, obviously I always recommend people to go with the superior CGO of Balthazar and the sorry, not the superior CGO of Balthazar, the superior rune of Balthazar. Yeah, that is more correct. And the rampagers or the rapid options, up to you. And for the equipment, same thing. Sword and torch, and the other one is a longbow. So rampagers or the rapid options, go for smoldering, and the purchase option for the other CGO is CGO of earth or geomancy, entirely up to you. Alright, so that's it for me for the warrior. Let's move on to the other classes. For the thief, I'll keep it short because the build is exactly the same, so there's no changes to the specialization or anything like that. Now they have made some changes to the condition damage of the thief. In regard to the skill, you have the needle trap. Now the needle trap will now allow you to have 3 stacks instead of 1. So as you recall, the poison condition damage is the main condition damage tab for the thief, and so having an extra stacks on the poison will always be a benefit to have. So the next one is the tripwire. Now they made the cooldown reduced from 30 seconds to 25 seconds. So according to the patch notes, that's what it says. But when I look at the skill description, it says it's only 20 seconds. So I'm not entirely sure that, you know, the tripwire is wrong in the skill description or in the patch. But I'll just follow with the patch because that's what it says right there. So the description on the patch note, it was saying that the 30 seconds of cooldown will now be reduced to 25 seconds. So take it as it is. The other changes that they have made is in regard to the cloak and dagger. Now this one is going to increase your vulnerability applications on the target foe from 3 to 5 vulnerabilities. So having, you know, 5 vulnerability stacks is always good, so the more damage that you can deal to the foe. And the other changes that I also made is in regard to the caltrops. So the caltrops is increasing 2 seconds of your bleeding durations. So the more, you know, the more bleedings applies on the target and the longer it stays, the better, right? So that's it for the thief. I mean, like, there's not much that I can say. They only make, you know, these changes: the tripwire, the cloak and dagger, and also the caltrops that has some impacts on the poison condition damage of the thief. So yeah, I'll keep it short, and I'll be moving on to the other class. So for the burn alley, I'll keep this video short, just like what I did for the thief, because the changes that I have made in this skill patch would not have any significant impact to the burn elementalist. So the condition damage build, you're fine, but the physical berserker build of the elementalist, it has some significant impacts on that one. But for the purpose of this video, I'm not doing any, you know, for berserker build. I'm just keeping it to the condition damage of the alley. So the changes that I have made that I can see that may have some impact is that when you use your dagger offhand, the earthquake, when you swap to the earth attunement, now this one reduce the cooldown to 30 seconds instead of 40, so 10 seconds less. So that means you can activate that more, and it does also provide you with a knockdown as well, so that's considered to be one of your CCs. The other ones that I have made is in regard to the armor of earth. This one was initially it was 75 seconds of cooldown, now it's only 50, and this one is also 75 seconds of cooldown, now it's 60. So these two are more of a survival skill that situational. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. So yeah, those are the only things that that has some sort of like impact onto the burn area, but it's not that major. So that's why as I said, I like to keep it short. And so the build is exactly the same as my previous video, so no changes. So that's it for my comments for this burn alley build. So I'll be moving on to the next class. So in regard to the Revenant, they did make a huge change in regard to the legendary Centaur Ventari. But before I'm gonna get into that, I will just say this: I don't have a lot of knowledge about the legendary Centaur Ventari build, so the healing build of the Revenant is not something that I am an expert of, because in the previous video that I have made for the Revenant, I was going for the full berserker damage build, and with the usage of glint to provide support in the form of the boons to your allies. So when they make the improvement to the Centaur Ventari, which is tailored to the salvation attribute of your specializations, and as you can see in here, this one is tailored to the healing aspect of the Revenant. And so because Centaur Ventari, I do use it, but only situational. I only use it when I feel the need to swap to Centaur Ventari for the protective shelter, as you can see in here. So I can summon the protective barrier around the tablet that can destroy enemy projectiles. So I use it, yes, but I am not using that often. I don't use that enough to be able to give you a build that is tailored to the healing and also to support with the boon. So I'm not an expert in that, and so I don't want to shoot myself and saying something that may be misleading, so I will just keep it as it is. But one comment that I can definitely make about this change is that I'm glad to see that they have made, or should I say, they give the access of alacrity, which will reduce the amount of the recharge rate on you and your allies. And so the other class that I know of that can use the alacrity is the Chronomancer. At the time when we're filming this, Chronomancer is the other class aside from Revenant that can provide you with the alacrity. And so I'm happy to see that AriaNet decided to provide the alacrity options to the Revenant outside of the only class I know of that can have it is the Chronos. So having more classes that are able to do the to provide the alacrity is something that I very pleased to see that happen. And so yeah, aside from the skill right here, natural harmony to have the alacrity, I'm happy to see that. Aside from that, I prefer not to comment any further on something that I don't have a strong knowledge about. And so yeah, I will keep it as it is, and thanks for watching. Now before I go, I do have another videos that I going to put out, and that is in regard to the condition damage of the Mesmer. I had a look at the patch itself, and to my surprise that I decided to buff the condition damage of the Mesmer tremendously in the form of the phantasms. And so I will be putting out the videos, and so I'm looking forward to see you there if you are interested to see the condition damage of the Mesmer. Otherwise, enjoy, have fun. If you have any comments or if you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. So as always, enjoy, have fun. I'll see you later.